Good evening, all you Minties, and welcome back to another episode of Reels Talk with your host, the amazing Amanda, my lovely co-host, the Uncanny Omar.
What's up, everybody? I am the Uncanny Omar, and this is the Amanda Show. Do y'all remember that from the 90s? Amanda Show?
It's the Amanda Show, yes. Except I made it out of the 90s, okay.
I think most of us did, right?
Well, not Amanda Bynes, but I was saying, like, most people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look at that. Already entertainment talk.
Already.
We're expecting that early. So this is continuing our birthday month celebration for the Uncanny
Just one more
Omar.
week, guys.
Okay, first of all, nobody says it like that. I can't believe this month has flown by. I'm gonna miss it so much because I've watched so many good movies, like all of freaking oh my gosh, all the Rocky movies, which is insane.
That was really fun. Yeah, I did.
Hey, what's up, Jaggernaut? How are you doing, brother? Tiaga, how are you? Ateed, how's it going, my brother?
Hey,
happy birthday, Amanda. Happy birthday, Amanda. What's happening here, Ateed? It's not her birthday.
Happy hump day.
Happy hump day. We will take that. We will take that, Griffith. So yeah, this time around we got to vote on fantasy movies from the 80s, some of my favorite. And let me tell you, it was a lot harder to put these lists together than I thought, because there's so many that I wanted to actually do. Like, I'm like, oh, I actually really do like Lady Hawk. Oh, but if I have to put that up against Conan, Conan wins. And YouTube only lets you choose 5 options. So it's not like I can have 10 options and then everybody vote, which sucks. They may change that one day. I don't know.
That's right.
So I had to already limit myself. I'm like, okay. If I can't pick Neverending Story, I picked Neverending Story. What else? I didn't go with Dark Crystal. I instead went with Labyrinth because I love Labyrinth so much. It's got good music, David Bowie's pants, and Jennifer Connelly. My goodness, who my age did not have a crush on that girl. Oh my goodness, she was so gorgeous. Is.
Yeah, I mean, she was still gorgeous in Top Gun Maverick. I mean, let's face it. There's a reason why Tom Cruise.
Were you gonna finish that?
In that role. There's a reason.
What's up, Warren? I would not expect anything less from you, buddy. I hope you've been doing well. And David Bowie's pants. You know what's up if you've seen Labyrinth. It's David Bowie, his pants, and the goblins, and Jennifer Connelly starring in that movie. And I can't. What were the other movies that I can't remember?
Was it the Baron? Right? Was it?
Baron Munchausen, The Further Adventures of Baron Munchausen, which is a wonderful, wonderful fantasy movie that's towards the late 80s, and that's one of the Terry Gilliam movies. Well, wonderful flick. I don't think it gets enough recognition or love, and I just thought, I'd love to see that voted on. But people voted on the Sumerian Conan, so this takes me back. 1982, and let me tell you something. I don't know if I think some of you all grew up in the same era I did, but whenever I see the HBO from the 80s, like it's that theme, do 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 do, I immediately think of Conan. Because that's the kind of movie that would come up like at 10 o'clock at night. Oh my gosh. Dark City is one of the most underrated movies, my brother. I agree with that. I love Dark City. Before Matrix, there was Dark City, and it was excellent. Mike Crumb. Oh my gosh, there's so many good lines in this movie. I love Brazil, Larry. And it's hard to pick a Terry Gilliam movie. I think most people would probably go with Brazil. A lot of people like 12 Monkeys. Time Bandits. I love Time Bandits, but I think Baron Munchausen's mine. I like Conan the Destroyer more than Conan. And I do want to talk about that too. And CV says, I already finished last book on the nice House on Lake, and I want to know how that is. I haven't finished it yet. And Comics Talk, what's up? And my buddy Lionheart.
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay, Amanda.
What is best in life?
Amanda, what is best in life? Oh, you found it.
Your enemies.
All right, read it, Amanda. What is best in life?
Your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of their women. That
is a good answer. That is the answer. Best in life. Look at you. You were ready.
I was ready. Yes, I was. Yes. Good evening, Gabe.
Robert E. Howard, Roy Thomas is the man, Larry. I'm with you. I got into Conan a few years back. Like, mainly it was Kurt Busiek that got me into Conan. I had read the short stories in the collection of Robert E. Howard stories that I had. But man. All right, let's go back. 1982, long before Amanda was born. And so it was simpler times. And Arnold Schwarzenegger was not a household name. This is before
He was not a governor. Nope.
Long before he was governor, but this is before Predator. This is before Terminator. As a matter of fact, this is before much of anything that he did.
I'm pretty sure.
This is his first acting role. And one of the first things that he had to do was actually slim down because he was too bulky. He was, oh my gosh, he was huge. Well, you all saw him in Terminator whenever we reviewed that, but he had to slim down because he couldn't wield the sword. He couldn't fit into the armor pieces.
And all I could think of is that slim down, like in my mind, slimming down is like slimming down. I was like, wow, how big was he? I mean, I've never seen the Pump and Iron movie documentary that he was featured in. That is what drew them to him in the first place for this role.
Well, the 80s one where he talks about working out is the same as reaching climax. I was going to go a little more classy. Yes, he was just going to town in that speech. He's like, it's just as good as that. Isn't that wonderful?
I was like, that. Yeah.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah.
So hold on a second really quick. Jake said he saw this recently on the BBC America, and they skipped the scene of what is best in life. I will say, there are things in this movie that obviously probably, well, I don't know. Let's talk about it. And then we can come back and talk about those thoughts as to if they would work today or not. But let's do it. Awesome. Hercules in New York. Yes, sir. Yes, dude, that's exactly what Amanda was talking about.
Yeah, I was talking. It's crazy that's how they found their Conan was from whether or not he could act, whether or not his English was that great, but
they would work with him on that.
They're looking for, and they would work. Yes. So yes, this did come out in 1982. Obviously, I did not see it this first go around. This is actually my first time seeing Conan the Barbarian. As one would imagine, it's probably not a film that I gravitate towards naturally. If you know anything about films that I particularly enjoy, but it was originally found by Edward Pressman and Edward Summers. They wanted to make this film. They got the rights. Then they were able to get Oliver Stone, of all people, which I had no idea, actually write the first draft. Apparently it was like 4 hours long, and it was way not anything like this. And then they ended up having to sell it.
He wanted to do more like a Mad Max type of story.
That's what I got out of it.
It was like supposed to be a futuristic type of setting, which was, not Conan at all. And as a matter of fact, they did take a little bit of liberties with the story here that don't really, at least from my knowledge, and any Conan expert out there, please correct me, did not borrow from the comics nor the stories.
Yes, I also read that as well, that they did take a lot of liberties here with the movie that are not in the original stories. That the gentleman is named Howard. Is that the original
Robert E. Howard?
Yes, who had committed suicide, unfortunately, after his mother passed away. And
but he was 30 years old. He was really young.
That's insane. But to see his legacy live on is incredible.
I think towards the end of his life, and this is something I remember reading a lot about, because I was just fascinated with somebody that was so young that created such a legacy. Because not just Conan, but also Cole.
Yep.
And
the first version, right? Essentially.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the other character today, Solomon Kane. But towards the end of his life, he was he thought Crumb, or at least he claimed that Crumb was talking to him. So I don't know, that might be hearsay. Nobody can really tell because he's been gone for such a long time, dude. You know what? I did not mind him in that movie. Thank you for the super chat, by the way, Mike.
Yes, thank you, Mike.
Order Irish now, my brother. Jason Momoa deserves another shot at Conan. I thought he did a good job. My problem wasn't with him. That movie was just wrecked with a lot of bad CGI and other side characters that were just bad. Yes, the morning cartoons, man, they were so good. They were so good, dude.
Yes. Exactly.
All right.
Yes.
So let's jump in here and start talking about Conan
the Barbarian, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. And there's a lot of actors in this that I was surprised very surprised by. Obviously, James Earl Jones did not know he was in this, playing the villain of all people, though he does have a good villain voice, if we all know from Star Wars, which he'd already started voicing Darth Vader at this point, right? Because Star Wars is 77.
77, and this is 1982.
So he has a good villain voice, but he's Thulsa Doom. And we also have...
Also, not really a Conan villain, but more of a Cole villain.
Yeah.
Borrowed for this, which it will work. Thank you for the super sticker, Undisputed Boyka.
Thank you, Undisputed Boyka. That's very nice.
But
yeah, and then other one, Max von Sydow, who I knew as the One-Eyed Raven in Game of Thrones, plays King Oscar. Yes,
he was phenomenal in this. Yes. Good job. Could you tell it was him, or was that something you found out later?
No, I found out later because I was like, he looked familiar, but he had a lot of facial hair, which he did, and a lot of hair in general, which he did not have. And let me tell you, yes, beards do really disguise a person if you put them on them.
What's up, Philip?
Hey,
how are you, my brother?
Yeah.
That's he grew a beard.
He grew a beard.
Yeah.
And then my favorite discovery was Mako, who is the narrator, because I also realized, I was like, when I watched it, all I kept thinking of is the narrator's voice sounds so familiar. Why? Oh. I feel like he plays a character that I love and I'm very familiar with. And then I realized he did. And that was Uncle Iroh from Avatar: The Last Airbender. One of the best characters in that show. And I was like, that's why I liked him so much.
So I actually, I knew him from this, and he's been in a couple of Japanese movies. But sadly, the other movie I know him from, because I don't know why my brother and I watched that a lot, was Sidekicks with Chuck Norris and Jonathan Brandis. Yeah, that was the other movie I knew him from.
Excellent.
And it's Mako.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Japanese
My apologies.
That's okay. That's why Larry's here. Undisputed Boyka, he's just making it rain tonight. Thank you.
Thank you
for that, buddy.
So much.
Wait. Who said who is that is again? Love Uncle. Oh, that is Mako.
Mako. He plays the wizard.
What was he in? Pearl Harbor. The last thing I think he did was the TMNT 2007 CG animated movie. He played Master Splinter.
Yeah.
Sadly, he passed away shortly after that, or actually before the movie even came out.
No.
Oh, I can't wait to read that CV Plays. I cannot wait to read that book. Big fan of that particular genre.
But go ahead. No, I was saying, so this movie came out in 1982. It actually, so I was comparing it to the remake, and it actually performed better than the remake did, both domestically and worldwide, including not only the critical scores, but also box office gross too, which really just goes to show you that sometimes you don't have to remake everything. But anyways,
no, you do not.
You do not. But this movie starts out. So this is the first thing I noticed when I was watching this movie, because guys, I've never seen this movie before. Like I said, this is not something I would gravitate towards naturally. So I'm glad that I got a chance to watch it, because
I know what you're about to say. I know what you're about to say.
That Peter Jackson clearly was inspired by this film for the opening of Lord of the Rings Fellowship.
No, I thought you were going to say how hot Conan's mother was. Oh my gosh, that lady was gorgeous.
She is very hot. Yes.
Wow. Why did they decapitate her?
The decapitation. I do love that scene where he's just standing there, and then all of a sudden his hand's still there, but the mother's gone because she was hypnotized by Thulsa Doom.
They had to cut that. So I'm sure there was a shot of her actual decapitation.
Oh, I'm
sure. But they had to cut that because to bring the rating down. Because back then, we only had PG and rated R. There was no such thing as PG-13.
At the time.
But this, I think they were saying that would have made it an X movie with all the violence, which is so ridiculous.
A weird time. Yeah. But no, it's, definitely there's a lot of violence in it, but I can't believe that. Well, I guess I could believe that. But you could see decapitation in rated R movies these days, for sure.
There is a fun fact.
You could just see it on TV in Game of Thrones or any other thing that comes out on streaming nowadays. So what a different time the 80s were. But yes, so it starts out with the narration talking about Cimmeria in the time before. And yes, I had to look it up. Like, this is technically like a real age that the Greeks talked about. and probably an easy thing to write about since there's not a lot of historical, artifacts and things from this time period. So you can really kind of play around with your inspirations on what you're going to do, which I think they really did here. And in the beginning, we get this awesome narration from Mako, overlaid with the making of this sword, his father's sword. And it's all about, right, the steel. And his father tells this really beautiful story about the god Crom and how they had stolen the steel. And after this big fight, all is left on Earth was the steel. And that's what the humans now have to like hold their reign over. And that's how important that is, because this is all about the sword and steel, right? And so then you see Thulsa Doom come in with his raiders into Conan's village. His father's killed by some dogs. His mother is hypnotized. So clearly there's some magic with Thulsa Doom and some really bad haircut. But I guess he did not want to get...
He's up on James Earl Jones' hair.
It's not his fault.
He grew that out just for this movie. That was a wig.
I definitely think that's a wig. And so after... Oh, go ahead. Oh, I know, right?
No, I was just highlighting the chat. Undisputed Boyka, he's spoiling you tonight.
Thank
you. Gonna go to the gas station, get a gas station hot dog with that money.
Oh, that's true spoiling. My gas station has some chicken curry that I particularly enjoy with some naan bread. Anyways, so the children, they decide they're going to enslave all the children and put them into the Wheel of Pain, which is like a torture device.
I never understood that. Even as a kid, I was like, what are they doing?
And somehow, they're just, do they get to sleep? Obviously, if you
are they making something? Usually when they capture a bunch of like kids to go and work, I was like, are they making something? Like, is something coming out of this, or they're just turning this wheel? And then you see, in a weird way, him aging when everybody else is left. I don't know if they've died, but he ages he goes into teenage years. And then the next shot is him raising his head, and he's fully muscular Arnold. And you're like, dude, that is a hell of a workout regime. I
didn't realize that was what's going to do it. I mean, they had to have fed him pretty well to get muscles like that, in addition to the workout, because you do need some protein to get to this, this level of physique. We all know that. I know that Arnold knows that too.
Okay.
Protein's the way to go. Anyways, so so he does grow up, and he is sold off to a master, and he's a gladiator, and then he is a successful gladiator.
That part was not in the books. That part was not in the comics nor the books. Him being a gladiator. Now, I could be wrong. Like, I haven't read every single comic or every single short story that Conan outside of Robert E. Howard was written for. But so I don't know if that was something that they added for the movie or not.
Interesting. They probably did for the sake of because I mean, John Milius is the director, and he went in and rewrote whatever Oliver Stone had originally created. Obviously this is not a futuristic Mad Max take. So yes, definitely was rewritten, and to cut down. So it's not it's still 2 hours long, but it's not a 4 hour long movie, thankfully. But yes,
thank you, Larry. He said the pit fighter stuff is not from the Robert E. Howard or the comics. I mean, there's so much of it that I didn't know if it was added later. We just actually talked about that. I wasn't a fan of the movie, and it's not Jason Momoa's fault. I thought he did a good job playing the character of Conan. It was just everything else, the plot, the horrible CGI. It just wasn't a good movie, and it did not do that well. I think it was like, I remember I went to see it with a friend, and it was empty. Like, the theater was empty.
When you look at the box office, it only made 21 million domestically. This made 39 million domestically. So this already
that's not inflation, right?
And that's not even inflation. Yeah, if you inflated that, it'd be higher. So Jason Momoa, it only did 20 million and then 63 worldwide. So yeah,
And Jesse would know. Jesse has a freaking picture of Conan as an avatar.
There you go.
Hold on just one second. Pepe Burrito. I haven't seen the new DC solicits. They're not solicits. Let's clarify that. They are the catalog. Yes, I'm actually going live tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you guys want to join me for that, talking about the new DC catalog books. The stuff added isn't too Robert E. Howard to work in. Yeah, absolutely. I get it. Oh, thank you so much, Matthew. You know it's that Colossal Conan. That's where I get it, baby. That's where I get it.
Exactly.
So he grows up and it's Conan. He gets in the pit and then he leaves. Now this is where I think there was. I'm curious to know your thoughts about this when he escapes the dogs. By the way, I know, much like Terminator, I know way too much about these movies because these are some of my favorite movies. Yes. But those dogs were like savage, and they were like, Arnold was scared. He was like really running in those shots.
I mean, it looked legit. I mean, he looks like he might have been a little scared, but no, it was an interesting. You know, he was freed and then he's getting chased by these dogs and he finds this like warrior's tomb, which I think is where he finds his father's sword or an ancient sword of some kind.
No, that is an ancient sword. So there's a misconception, I know, and I'm curious what who you thought the statue was. Because I always think because he delivers the line like Crom, right? Like he says that. So a lot of people I know that have seen this movie think, oh, that's obviously Crom and that's Crom's sword. But he's just saying it would be saying like, oh God, or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, you're thinking that instead of it being Crom's sword.
Right. Because to me, and reading more and more Conan and Larry and a couple of other people that are here right now that have already read the books, I always thought it was like an Atlantis kind of throne, because this is Conan and Cole exist in the same universe. It's just that Conan is way into the future of Atlantis, where Cole, right? Yeah. So I always thought, well, maybe that's the way they added a Cole little Easter egg, and that's Cole's sword, and that's his body.
Yeah, I think that's what Larry's saying. He thinks it's Cole as well.
Yeah. See, that's you read so much of this stuff, man. You start putting things together.
Yeah. And so, no, I didn't know that. So I would have just assumed, as a non-reader and not really that familiar with the lore when I was watching it the first time around, that it would have possibly been an Atlantean sword, unless there was the sword is Atlantean. Okay, perfect. So it is not Crom's sword.
I thought I was like, whoa, I'm getting way too dorky about this stuff. But I was curious what everybody else thought that had read a lot of these works of Robert E. Howard, and then of course the comics. But yeah, man, when he picks it up and it starts like shining and he gets a smile on his face, and he's got a sword. So he escapes the life of being a slave and being a gladiator, and he goes on a journey.
Yes, a journey where he meets a witch in a hut who offers him prophecy and good sex before she turns into like a monster that he has to kill.
Dude, that scene with the witch.
My favorite part is like, in the scene when she talks about the snakes, and he goes, snakes, and all I kept thinking of was this, snakes. Why does it have to be snakes? Because the way he said it was very much that.
Dude, and they respectfully smash. They smash.
Oh yeah, because that's what you do after a woman reveals a prophecy.
But then she starts turning, and you don't know, is he stopping or is he keeping going? Because it's Conan. He doesn't care.
Well, Arnold, he stopped because working out is better than.
No, he never said it's. He never said it's better. Don't misquote him. He said it was just as good. Just as Climax.
Good. Okay, we'll have to go back to that interview and really see what he said. Anyways,
Robert E. Howard was friends with H.P. Lovecraft, and they shared some world aspects. It was kind of sharing some stuff. Yeah, I think that they had a similar. Well, I don't want to say the relationship that C.S. Lewis and Tolkien had, but they did have a similar relationship to that. No, Robert E. Howard never wrote the comics. He was, oh my goodness, he passed away long before the idea of a comic was even thought of.
Early
side note: did everybody catch Hooper using Conan's sword at the end of Stranger Things season 4? When he picked it up. Yeah, when he picked it up. Remember, we talked about it when we reviewed it. Yeah,
that's right.
I was like, well, okay, I guess they can cast that guy as Conan now.
They already casted him as Hellboy. Let's not get
okay, well, that was a mistake.
We're good. I think we're fine. Yeah, so he does have to kill the witch, and then after he escapes, he finds a thief on the road, Subutai, and they have a nice little friendship, and they start to journey together, and they talk about their gods, and he talks about how, well, my god, the four-wind god, he oversees your god, Crom. He's in the sky and Crom's not, and they have some interesting discussions, and he ends up going to the city of Zamora with Subutai to seek out Doom, and when they get there, they meet another thief, the beautiful Valeria.
Okay, so Valeria was an interesting choice because I'm not sure why they decided to go with Valeria, unless it's that one scene at the end, because her name sounds like Valkyrie, and he sees her appear as a Valkyrie, and I'm like, could that have been the only reason Oliver Stone has instead of using Baylet, which was a character from the comic, and Valeria is from the comics, but the character arc in this, it felt a little bit more like Baylet. But I'm curious why they decided to go with Valeria. And I tried a few years ago when I rewatched it after reading some of the comics. I'm like, oh, I wonder why they used Valeria instead of Baylet. She would have made a better character, but I could never find anything
on what the choice. Yeah.
Yes, we haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
This is making me want to read all the. They're so fun. They're great. I really love them. What's up, AR? How are you, brother?
I know what's funny is we have a bunch of Conan comics that are my husband's down here.
You have the what's it called? The Dark Horse stuff. It's the Dark Horse era, which is really good. That's the stuff that got me into Conan.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'll have to read those eventually, or you'll just have to make me read them by like doing a show or something. Yes. So they meet Valeria, they raid the Tower of the Serpent, and the Tower of the Serpent god Set is now who Thulsa Doom is become an acolyte for, and has become this uber magical prophetic type of acolyte for this. Yes, that guy. Look at those. Look at
that hair he grew out, baby.
Look at that hair he grew out.
Big.
And when they are there, they slay a giant snake. The giant snakes are apparently a thing for Set and also for Thulsa Doom, because we find out later he can turn into snakes.
That thing was awesome, man. That big prop that they used.
I think I have. Is that this one right here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bam. Oh God.
Okay, and then when he shot it with arrows, that was actually him shooting by Arnold, because he said, okay, I don't want a stunt double to do this. I want to do it myself. So he was actually shooting arrows by Arnold, and Arnold was like, oh, okay, I guess that's what movie stars do.
Yeah. Well, and I know that Milius, according to what I read, chose, mechanical constructs and optical illusions to do his to get all his special effects in. That's what he kind of went for with Conan, which I think was an interesting choice.
Everybody has mentioned the score so far, and we haven't gotten to that part yet, but my gosh, it's one of my favorites. And it wasn't until 2012 before we actually had the complete score available to us. I don't know if it's all available now through like Spotify or anything, but you could get CDs in 2000, because that was a huge deal that all three of the CDs were available for the first time. And yes, Larry's right. Like I mentioned a little bit earlier, that stuff has more to do with Cole than Conan as far as like the snake stuff. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. So when I was looking up some stuff and they used like the snake cult, a few years before this is also when that cult where they all drank cyanide, the Jones, that had also just taken place not too like long ago in like the late 70s, right? So maybe they were trying to, because cults were a thing, right? We have Satanic Panic in the 80s, and so maybe that's why they chose this storyline.
And it was a little more than a cult. I mean, there were some orgies going on with that catchy
ballistic orgies, like what they were eating.
And then that theme that's playing, it's kind of catchy. It's almost Eyes Wide Shut kind of.
Yes, 100%. I cannot find those gifts.
Oh my gosh, and Thulsa is turning into a giant snake. That thing was so awesome, the way it looked.
Yeah, I think they actually built it, right? Like,
yeah, they actually built his face, right? But they
mhm.
pushed the snake's head through. Oh my gosh, that's wow.
Yeah,
I mean, nowadays it would be CG, and you could be like, "Oh yeah, that was pretty
that
cool."
was
But
pretty
back
cool, but
then, that
yeah,
thing was amazing.
optical illusions, man.
What's up,
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Vic? You're just a little bit late.
Yes, just a little bit late. Yes. So after they
Same, bro.
escape
Same.
with their loot, him and Valeria consummate their new relationship. Obviously, they were the two hottest people right now in the movie, so they're gonna get together. And then when they end up getting captured by the city guards, and they are taken to King Osric, who basically asked them
I think
to
that's what I'm sorry. I think that's what Amanda was kind of getting at, was that
yes.
this had to do
Mhm.
with the Jonestown kind of cult, especially when Thulsa's like, skin is stronger than steel. Look at that woman up there, and he just tells her, "Dude, that fall,
Oh yeah,
that
that was
fall."
yeah.
Like, okay, nowadays, I mean, it's not as good as. Damn it, where's my gif of the Catwoman fall? Not as good as the Catwoman fall, but that lady that fell, holy crap! Like that was a one-shot fall, man. That was amazing.
Yes. I'm gonna look it up though. No, yes, it was really good, but I can see the comparisons.
Jonestown,
Jonestown was
1978.
1978, so yeah,
Yeah,
that
we
was
watched the
around the time that
documentary together about that. That thing was horrible.
oh, it was yeah. Oh my goodness, yes. And so I believe, given where John Millie is, I mean, it was probably still in the cultural
Yep.
zeitgeist at the time, so I'd imagine that's why they wanted to take that and use it as inspiration and use the snake cult. Yes, but King Osric wants them to basically save his daughter, Princess Yasmina, who's become enthralled by Thulce and has been taken in by the cult. And she is now a zealot, and he needs them to rescue her. The other two don't want to do it, but Conan sees this as his time to get revenge on the man who killed his mother right in
Dude,
front of him.
that
He
line
destroyed
was
the
so
town.
good. You killed my my mother. Oh, I love this movie.
Oh,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, yeah. So he ends up going off and trying to defeat him all by himself. Of course, we know that's not going to work. Yep, that happens.
I was a little late. I was a little late
Yes,
on that. I'm so
it doesn't
sorry.
happen. He is, of course, discovered. He is captured. He is beaten. And then after Thulsa Doom has his nice monologue where he does make that girl jump off the cliff, he ends up telling them to crucify him on the Tree of Woe. And he's basically almost dead when he's discovered by Subutai and Valeria, and they take him to the wizard. And the wizard
Mako.
says, yes, Akira is Akira, right?
Oh, you mean his character's name?
Yes, his character's name. Yes, Mako is the actor's name.
Mako's the actor's name.
Yes,
I think he was just called the wizard in this
the
game,
wizard.
in
Okay.
this movie. He's like, I don't think he's known. Like, his name is not found out until the sequel, the
Okay.
Conan the Conqueror.
Gotcha. In this movie, he's just the wizard.
Yeah, because they never say his name, and
No, they never do.
not the Conqueror. I'm sorry, the Destroyer. But yeah, he draws markings on him, and
Yeah.
was able to. Oh man, that animation was so creepy too, with the ghosts and demons.
Oh yeah. It was like, and they're basically telling Valeria there's a price to be paid if you guys are going to do this. And
Yeah.
she's like, I'm willing to pay his price. And of course, we're going to see that happen later on. So after he is resurrected, essentially, wow, there's some deep Christian themes going on here in this story as well.
Yeah, the whole crucifixion thing. I thought of Wolverine in
Oh,
X-Men. Yeah,
there we go.
it was excellent. I don't think it's streaming anywhere right now. We were looking, and we actually
You
had
can
to
find it.
go to Vudu to actually
Mhm.
watch it. And
Yeah, you're gonna have to rent it. You can rent it on any of the platforms where you can rent movies, but yeah, it's not.
or you can buy physically. Just
Or
saying,
you can,
buy
yeah.
physically. You gotta rent it. It's worth owning. It's so good. Um, so yeah, this is also where you get the scene where they go in, and like, after he comes back from the dead, right after that creepy ghost scene, which, like I said, yes, it's yes, you can rent it through Amazon, I believe.
Mhm.
The after he comes back, and we didn't talk about this, but I was curious how you felt, because obviously
Yeah.
it's animation, right? Like the ghosts and the
Yeah.
spirits that are trying to drag him. But the color tones that they use I just thought were phenomenal. Kind of reminded me a little bit of Raiders of the Lost Ark, right?
Yes.
In that scene with the souls and the Ark of the Covenant opening up. What did you think of that scene and how has it aged? Because for me, it could be nostalgia goggles that are like, wow, that still looks good today.
I mean, I think it still has value in a way that it can hold up today. Was it a little, does it seem a little bit dated? Yes, it did. But there's a lot of things in this film that you could say felt a little dated, like maybe the portrayal of some of the women in this film. But no, I like that scene a lot. I really enjoyed like watching that all play out. And I think it helps to have like the score behind a lot of this too. I think that.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that when we reviewed the Terminator, but that was one of the reasons why they had to wait on Arnold, was because he was doing Conan the Destroyer.
Yeah.
Really quick, the soundtrack is what actually conducts the emotional moments throughout the entire movie, because the acting wasn't that good. Basil, how do you say his name? Larry, where you at, Larry?
Larry Polidorus is my guess.
Polidorus, there we go. Was a genius. Rest in peace. Cheese.
Well, what I read is that he wanted to make it like operatic, where there wasn't
a lot feel like that.
Well, given that there's not a ton of dialogue in this film, so I was very much shocked by there is not a lot of dialogue, and it could be because Arnold, there was a little bit of a disparity there, the handicap, and he needed to, they didn't have a lot of. He's one of the few main characters that doesn't talk that much in their own film. But I guess he doesn't talk that much in the Terminator. Talks a lot in Terminator 2.
Well, and I think because this was like his first acting role, right? So they were like, okay, he has an accent, and what are we gonna do about that?
Yes.
Say what you will about 80s films, many even the films hated have some fantastic scores. Oh yeah, there's something really special about that time in cinema.
I think they really cared about the soundtracks. Yes. But yeah, so they end up going back, and after they infiltrate Thulsa Doom's like orgy that he's having.
Well, dude, in that scene with all the extras, all the cult extras, that wasn't a painted picture in the background, right? Like, it's obviously not CG. Those were actual extras up on the hilltop. That was amazing.
Yes. And of course, we have our big fight scene. We also have Valeria ending up being mortally wounded and dying. And at the end of it all, he is able to defeat Thulsa Doom after the Valkyrie return of Valeria kind of, thwarts a potential mortal blow to Conan. And he's able to use his father's sword, which was broken, right? And he pretty much decapitated Thulsa Doom, which sounded
not before he has the big fight, with his buddy, like
that's right,
his workout buddy, and the other guy. I can't remember if he was an NFL player or not.
Yeah,
both of those guys.
Yes, one of them is an NFL player. I watched.
Okay, and then the other guy was the guy that kind of trained him, so he gave him that small bit role in the movie, dude. But we forgot the best part is where he's actually talking to Crumb, right? Like he's Crumb.
Yeah, he's like, hey.
and then he's like, and if you don't, then to hell with you. Oh my God. What, like, that is so awesome. Like, it's a weird prayer, right?
Yes, weird prayer.
Because does he really believe in that? Like, does he really rely on Crumb, or does he rely on himself and his skills? And man, I've always loved that. And yeah, that he ends up in a very anticlimactic way. I think he ends up killing Thulsa Doom because it's weird, right? Because everything has led to this, and it feels like he got more into a huge fight with the two little minions than he did Thulsa, right? And then he gets the revenge by cutting his head off, and off he rides, and we get a little bit of a monologue. It is on Apple TV. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Vic.
Yes. To purchase, or to rent, or to watch. Oh, shoot. Revenge. Yes, but he is. And then we get that nice little epilogue where we kind of learn about the future of Conan, who becomes king. And obviously, if that's
I love that shot, because I remember when he won governor of California. I was like, I hope to God that he grows his beard out and he has a throne in the governor's.
Yes, that would have been everything for everyone.
No, I don't think a lot of people would have been happy with the money spent, but I would have loved it. Oh, that would have been so awesome.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah, so let's talk about the things that. Well, obviously, it's one of my favorite movies from the 80s.
I do.
Was there something things that you did not like?
So I think for me, some of the things I didn't like, some of the acting is a little wooden, and that could be because yes, it's Arnold's first film. So
well, it's his first big film. It's his first
film.
like huge
it's
film.
not
right?
Pumping Iron, but yes, he is very charismatic in Pumping Iron. But in this,
he wasn't acting.
Yeah, it wasn't that he was just being himself, but he has to take on a different persona with Conan, right? The serious. And, also some of the writing, there are some good lines, but you probably could have shaved off a couple of minutes in the film and tightened it up, and I would have been okay with that. Particularly like in this, like the middle part of the film, there could have been some, I think if they would have been made today, there would have been more tighter editing in that middle part.
If they would have been made today, there's no way in hell that would have killed off the main character halfway through the movie. Like when he died.
Oh yeah.
Back. Like no way that happens in the first Conan movie. That's just weird.
It happens in so many movies these days.
The lead character dies and they bring him back? Really?
I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think of one.
Oh, I'm sure you're probably right. I just can't recall off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Like the lead character dying. I mean, it's like executive decision. Steven Seagal died in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I thought of Steven Seagal. This movie's fantastic. Great childhood memory. Score was awesome. Absolutely.
Score was beautiful.
What's up, Kenny? How are you, brother?
Hey,
I like
Kenny.
this film in one of Arnold's first big. It was his first big action film. This is the big one. Go ahead. What else?
No, but I mean, other than that, I mean, you can't really harp on the effects and things. I think the effects were great for what they were in 1982, and I still think, like I said, with that ghost scene, some of it you could still see it hold up okay today without having to go into crazy CGI, which of course everything probably would be CGI'd out like crazy. There's a lot of chances for those practical effects to still resonate with the film. But really for me, it was mostly maybe some of the acting. Like there's that scene where they're talking about how he could have any woman he wanted, and they're all like in the pen and he's in there, and that woman's like, I think they pretend to be like timid and shy, and that was just a weird scene. I didn't know what to think. I was like, I don't know what's happening.
As a kid, like I said, it came on HBO. I'm like, oh, how far are they gonna take this? Okay, so yes. I do want to talk about that, right? Like about things that you couldn't do today just because the pendulum for entertainment has swung so far this way that there are a lot of things that movie makers don't do anymore. Right.
Yeah.
And one of those things is, of course, some of the things that happen. Like you were talking about the treatment of women in this movie, but you weren't complaining. You were just mainly talking about, would that fly today?
Well, I mean, Game of Thrones, so it's hard to say.
Yeah, but look how much flack they got for a scene that and this goes into a completely different territory, but look how much they got for the scene, the wedding scene, the I don't want to spoil this, but the honeymoon scene.
Oh, with Sansa.
Right. And it wasn't even shown. It was just somebody's reaction, right? And they got so much hate for that. How dare they do that, the character. And I think like in today's world, I don't know if a lot of this stuff can fly. Like, yeah, Conan being presented a woman, like, and he's like, oh,
cannibalistic orgies, maybe, but then there's
I think the orgies would still fly.
Many movies are being made about cannibals these days, which is weird, but it is happening more often than not. I think we're really running out of ideas.
Well, like I said, I think when you limit yourself to what you can do and show in movies and television, eventually the pendulum will swing back around to like, okay, this has gone too far now.
Yes,
come back this way. And I'm not saying like it's all good or bad. It's just it's fact that's what happens.
But I mean, obviously,
I saw a really good interview actually with Quentin Tarantino talking about that. Talking about how, like in the 60s, the pendulum starts swinging and then entertainment just starts, unfortunately, being less entertaining because limitations of what they can do and say and portray in movies. So, yeah, I wonder what they could and could not do nowadays, especially, with Robert E. Howard's stories. If that's the backbone of Conan, then this movie did a damn good job.
Yeah, I think so too.
Talk about that in a second.
No.
Anything else? I'm sorry.
Anything else? Okay, I don't remember if it was which of the of his henchmen it was, but one of them, I love the costumes. I think were really well done. I think they were perfect for the time period that they're going for, the era. But one of the guys looks like he's wearing a leather jacket, and it kept taking me out every time he was on screen. I was like, why did they choose to put that guy in what looks like a more modern leather jacket?
One of the henchmen?
Yeah, everyone else seems very of the time, but then this one guy has like a leather jacket. And I was like, why does he have that leather jacket? It feels so out of place when you have the robes for all the cultists and you have all, it felt very out of place. I don't know why that kept sticking with me every time I saw him on screen.
That might have been the one thing that was left over from, hey, let's make this in the future.
The future? Yes.
Yeah, that might have been the one thing that was left over from that. And then they said, no, let's make it more traditional and bring it back to Conan a long time ago.
Yes. Yeah.
For me, there's very little I dislike about this movie, and they're just minor little gripes. The ending fight with Thulsa, I wish could have been longer. Could have been a really good fight. Could have been limitations, right? Like even if they turned Thulsa into a giant snake, how would that have looked? And I'm trying to think of what else. I mean, the special effects to this day still awesome. I don't know. I really liked it. It could have been longer. To me, it felt shorter.
Oh,
you said they could have shaved off a couple more minutes.
I felt like they're. Yeah.
I like this movie. I love this movie. So part of me is like, it could have been longer.
And maybe it is because of the lack of dialogue. And for me, as someone who appreciates a lot of dialogue, maybe that's where I felt like it just felt like it was a little bit long for me because there is not as much dialogue as I expect in a film. And that's not to say that that's wrong. It's just what I have come to expect from my experiences in film watching. He-Man was based off of Conan, right?
Look at you.
Even
if you look at the designs by one of the late, I cannot remember his name. He was a phenomenal character designer. It was Conan. If you look at the design of the original He-Man toys, it was definitely Conan. Dude, we didn't even talk about two of the most famous scenes, which is the camel punching. Like that today you could not do.
Peter would be all over you.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Peter would be all over. Did they just punch a camel?
As long as you said it was a CGI'd camel and he was really just punching a man in a green suit. Okay. With a camel head.
The snake arrow.
Look at that guy.
We get it. You love snakes.
You love snakes. I really need to know more about this snake cult. Really, what do they believe? I mean, it's magical. They have orgies. They eat people. They love snakes. What a weird cult to be a part of. Hey, Jack.
When I was a kid, a camel punch meant.
It still does mean something like that. Yeah.
We still call it that. Not just kid. Alfredo Alcala. Oh, man. That guy. Conan speaks with iron, not words. Oh, man. Well, Philip was quoting the line earlier where, he's Conan. He doesn't cry, so I cry for him. Oh, my gosh. Talk about a manly dude. All right. Okay. I think that's what they would tone down, right? I think in movies nowadays, they would tone down the manliness. Yes, of course. You got to get him more in touch, with this
feminine side.
I didn't say feminine side. I said you got to get him more in touch.
Well, to be fair, yes, men cry too. And it does expand their acting range. I will say that when you start to show emotion, how well can you show that emotion?
Right. Conan was doing some camel. Thanks for that, Cycle Cleveland.
Yes, he was.
Mongol did it first in Blazing Saddles. He didn't punch a camel. He punched a horse. Conan punched a horse in the sequel. They would give Conan an iPhone. No, they better not.
Nah, they would not. Unless it was the Oliver Stone version. It was set in a futuristic time. Then
what a classy way to put this. I even like the gypsy fortune teller lady he bones. I haven't heard that term since the 80s. I didn't know we still use that. Thanks for that, Loki.
Fortune teller or bone?
The witch, okay? The witch.
Oh, well, what term?
Loki wasn't paying attention to what she was. He just saw this lady that told him some fortune about
steak. She put it on him. I mean, she was. Dude, I mean, very forward.
He banged the demon out of that lady. That's how Conan does.
Again, I don't understand why that had to happen, but it was fine.
Why? Because they know their target audience.
That's exactly why.
I know that was a 10-year-old boy watching HBO late at night hoping to see some boobies.
Yes. Even if she
did not disappoint.
No, they sure did not.
All right, Panda. Anything else? Like, what was your favorite thing about this movie?
My favorite thing about this movie. Let's see.
What's your favorite thing about this movie?
Besides the camel punching?
Really? Boy, Peter's going to come after you and cancel your ass.
No, it's just funny, but I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I think my favorite thing is actually just the dynamics between Conan, Subutai, and Valeria. Once the three of them get together, I like that. It feels more like a movie. And of course,
more of a fellowship, if you will.
Yes, a fellowship. It really does. I love
compared it to Tolkien.
Yeah, I am. Oh yeah, look at that. I mean, that's might as well be them going over New Zealand's landscape. I mean, where they filmed this? Is it not New Zealand?
It was definitely not New Zealand.
No, it was a very deserty area. But no, I mean, that was my favorite part of the film, was the three of them. And that opening sequence, because it was giving me serious. I was like, Peter Jackson must have watched Conan and took some, because it's like the forging of the sword and it has the fire. That is just like that's
and the narration.
And the narration of about a time long ago. Like, come on. I was like, Peter Jackson, you definitely were inspired by this. So, yes, that would be my favorite part, the three of them.
You know, I think at one time they actually, in a couple of scenes, they actually used blood, like animal blood, for a couple of scenes.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah, there's a lot of things about this movie. It's wonderful. All right, then. Moment of truth. Everybody that has already seen this movie, filmed in Spain. Thank you so much
Spain.
for that.
There we go.
I thought about doing Red Sonja as was it really that bad? Because bad.
So was the girl who played Valeria in Red Sonja? Or was it a different actress?
Hold on. I'm trying to think. One of the actresses is in Red Sonja, and I think you're right. I think it's the lady either played the daughter, or Valeria. Red Sonja had Bridget Nielsen at a young 21 years old being Red Sonja, and you couldn't call him Conan because legally his name wasn't Conan. And oh man, it was so bad.
That's all right. Same Nielsen who was with Flavor Flav, right?
Yeah, it was in Rocky IV, and you were like, "Oh wow, she's a pretty girl." And I'm like, "That's Bridget Nielsen."
Okay. Wow.
All right. Anybody that has seen this movie and my wonderful co-host that has gone through these Omar movies lately, what would you give this out of 10?
All right. So for
Ladies
me,
first.
I give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. Like I said, with the acting and some of the aside, I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. Because it was still a fun fantasy film.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. This is a 9 out of 10. I love this movie. The score, the casting, the special effects. Oh my gosh, it's a great fun movie, and it's one that I go back and revisit a lot. And I didn't feel the same about the sequel. And maybe one day we'll do the sequel. But sounds this good. One, no, yes, Philip. But this one here is phenomenal. This is a man's man type of movie. I love this movie. It's great. It's ridiculous. Thank you so much for the super chat, my brother. Viva Peru, carajo. Having read the original stories by Howard, would you say the literary character is somewhat flawed? He has his cons as well as his pros. I will say that he's not as. Keep in mind though, there is growth and with Conan, right? Like he starts off kind of dumb, like he's not as smart. By the time he's the king, gets to King Conan, like he is a smart dude. Like I mean, this is why the guy rules kingdoms and is able to take over kingdoms. But as he started off young, he is kind of not very smart, but he does progress. And I would say he is flawed in the movie. I mean, he dies in the movie, right?
Because of his flaw, because he's so eager for revenge. Yes.
Yeah, for revenge.
He didn't want to listen to his counterparts.
but you can't make it perfect. Wow, what a rating. 11 out of 10. I'd have given her a 12 out of 10. I just one-upped you. I can't believe you just gave her an 11 out of 10. 12 out of 10.
There you go, Brian. 5 out of 10. He can go either way. 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10 from Bridget Nielsen was also in Beverly Hills Cop 2, right? I can't remember if she was in the second one. Jack gives it a 7 out of 10. 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. 7 Lamentations. 10. Thank you for that, DVC All-Star. I'd have to watch it again. I haven't seen it in years, probably 50 times before. 8, maybe 9 out of 10. 10 out of 10 for my buddy Lionheart. Okay, so she was the villain. Good job, Amanda.
Awesome. I knew she was in it, but I don't remember what she
Hear
played.
the lamentations of the women. Out of 10. Jesse gives it a 10. Or 9 out of 10, I'm sorry. 9 Chrome out of 10. 8 Camel just out of 10. I could go either way. 5 out of 10. Conan the Destroyer. I don't know if it sucked. It just wasn't as good as this one. And it's one that I want to revisit. 8 out of 10. Roy Thomas wrote it, though, right? Like Roy Thomas, who wrote the comics, co-wrote that. This is the kind of movie that makes people want to pull out some body glitter and walk down their street shirtless in a loincloth.
Did it make you want to do that?
Mr. Magic Mike makes
Magic Mike, I think, makes a lot of people want to bring out something.
I'd have to watch it again. I haven't seen it in years. Come on, Larry, go and watch it. Hard Knocks gives it an 8 out of 10. Jack gives it an 11 out of 10. Most chicks don't get.
That's fair, Jack. That's fair. That's fair. Because I would say that most men don't get like Mindy Kaling. So that's fair. I get that.
Of all the people you could have gone with, that's somebody controversial.
Yes, I don't know who's not controversial these days.
Tom Hanks, knock on wood, until he's not. 6 out. Thank you for that, Josh. You piece of garbage. Omar is 100 out of. Thank you for that, Jack.
Beat me to it.
Yeah. Let's do Beastmaster. Oh, I'd love to go back to do Beastmaster. You know, I have a funny story about Beastmaster. I could not remember the actor's name, Mark Singer, right? My brother and I were in Chicago, and we were getting out and getting ready to take a taxi to go somewhere. And I look at my brother, and I'm like, oh, my God, dude, that's the Beastmaster. And my brother Manuel's like, no, it's not. And I'm like, that's the fucking Beastmaster, Manuel. What's his name? Manuel's like, it's not the Beastmaster. And I was like, he was getting into a cab before us, and he was so kind because he heard me. And I said, Beastmaster, because I could not remember Mark Singer's name. He turned around, he goes, hey, guys. And he got in his, and I was like, I told you, you idiot. We could have gone up and got our picture taken with him. But anyway, that's my Beastmaster story. I love that dude. 9.8 CGC. Roy Thomas wrote The Destroyer with Jerry Conway, but there was a lot of studio interference. That there was, and I think that's what made that movie quite a bit of a mess. Thank you so much, Davey. We have a lot of fun doing this.
Yes, that's always what happens with when studios interfere. It never bodes well for a film. We see that too often.
Mm-hmm. You see it with, no, let's just stay positive because we just talked about an awesome movie, so I don't want to talk about dumb movies.
Exactly.
Conan is a very clever man in the books, and even in the comics, the bad acting in English of Arnold may have contributed to the impression he is dumb. And I think they had to probably limit what he said.
I think it was too. I think that's, I mean, now you don't have to worry about that. And as he started to become more of an actor, you had to worry about that less. But yeah.
The guy has I still love Twins, man. The guy has comedic range.
Dude,
was it really that good? Flash
one of my faves. Like,
what's that?
Kindergarten Cop. Like, I love when he's Kindergarten Cop.
Knocked Up, the one where he was pregnant. What was the one where he was pregnant? Do you remember that? Arnold was pregnant. I cannot remember the name of the movie.
Kindergarten Cop. Kindergarten Cop was
no, it's definitely not. That is not up to him.
What was pregnant? It was, guys. What was it though?
I cannot remember. Oh, thank you so much, my brother. Viva Peru, carajo, Junior.
That's
Junior. Thank you all.
Yes.
Twins was great. I love Twins.
He has some great moments.
I think Jingle All the Way is what a lot of people think of when they think of his humor side. At the midpoint of Conan's life, he learns a ton of languages and how to read. Then he gets a lot smarter. And in this, you see a little bit of that, right? He's giving books and a woman.
Oh, yeah.
He focused more on the woman.
Of language, of education. I don't know. I was like, oh, good. That's good for him. He gets to read now.
Oh, thank you so much, my brother Ludwig. Haven't seen you in a while. How have you been, brother? Just wanted to say hello. Conan movie's awesome, but not a good representation of Robert Howard stories. That I can go with. As far as his Conan, I think the world, they did a really good job. Still give it a 9 out of 10. And it's so good to see you, man. I thought about you the other day, man. Haven't seen you for a minute. Kindergarten Cop, Who's Your Daddy, and what
Such a good film. I like that film a lot. Yeah.
That's the one with it's not a tumor, right? That's where he's the one where the boys have peepees and girls have vaginas.
Yes, so good. Yes, there's a lot of great stuff in there. Like I said, that was a great. That's what my.
We should just do an all Arnold month where we just go back and
let's rank all of Arnold's movies. I love when we rank movies.
One of my favorite quotes of all time is from Jeff Loeb. Jeff Loeb talked about the movie Commando, and people were like, how do you feel about, people dogging Commando, like giving it a bad score? Mm-hmm. And he's like, I haven't seen any negative scores about that. I haven't read, that's what he said. I haven't seen any of the negative scores about my movie, but I did see the house that it bought me. I love that. I love that Jeff Loeb line. Like, Commando's just one of these movies that's goofy, 80s, it's over the top, and it got a lot of hate when it was coming out. But I love that line from Jeff Loeb, though. That's awesome. So yeah, next week, before we start talking about the movie news here in a second, next week we'll take it somewhere a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, well, I mean, you owe me another week, but that's okay. We'll talk about that another time.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, what was that?
No, you're good. You're right. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll just take one.
When do I get my birthday month? When do we get to?
I'm sorry you share a month with baby Jesus. That's all on me. You need to take it up with the big guy.
Yeah, yep. I think we're just gonna have to just forgo baby Jesus's films, and we're just gonna focus on me.
Wow, that does sound like something you would say.
Exactly.
So I was thinking, okay. Oh my gosh, there's just so many. I was thinking of animated movies because we haven't done one in so long. Oh God, or I was thinking of like the horror genre, which we could say for October. What's that?
I said you hate me. I
know. Look, we'll make it a Discord viewing where we all watch it together, so you're not alone and you're not scared by yourself at your house. I'll think about it, and we'll put up a poll on YouTube.
There's lots of great animated movies in the 80s that you probably love that I would be willing to watch that are free probably on, is it Tubi? Tubi has a ton of 80s animated films and I'm like, I haven't seen this film since I had it on VHS when I was a young girl. Like, yeah, Tubi has them all. You should check it out if you're into 80s. No, it's not, because besides the Spider-Mans, he actually isn't in all those great films. The Spider-Man films are probably his best films. I mean, yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Even the one about the flood is just okay.
The flood? You mean when he was a kid?
Yeah, that movie.
That was a tsunami. That was a little more than a flood.
Yes, that thing. It was
the escape. I can't remember what it's called. But I actually like it.
But a lot of the movies he's been in since then are okay. I mean, he needs.
Wow, Watership Down. Like that's how we mix creepy and scary with animation.
Because that is.
So I was thinking more of anime. Like, there's a lot of anime that I grew up with too in the 80s. That have you ever seen Akira?
No.
Okay, so I was thinking of like
movies. Name the anime I've seen on my hand: Trigun, Bleach, Gurren Lagann.
Dragon Ball Z. That's like one of the greatest.
I know. That's because y'all made me like it. And I'm sure I'm missing one, but
you've seen Dragon Ball Z, right? Like
Dragon Ball Z though. Yes, because Corey made me watch while we were dating, like all of it.
See, Ninja Scroll is 90s though, so we couldn't do that. I don't want to cheat. I want to go classic, and there's a lot of classic anime in the 80s that's now available. I mean, we could go really classic. I'm pretty sure.
There we go. There's my fifth one that I've seen.
Yeah. What, you've seen Berserk?
Yes.
Which one?
The original. I mean, the one where
90s?
What's her name gets all.
Whoa! Wait.
Yes, I've seen that one.
Just watched Akira for the first time and then bought the box set after realizing how different it was. Well, yes, because Akira had that thing where it wasn't finished, right? Like he hadn't finished it. So then Ultimo went back and finished the manga. It's great. Yep. We could do Vampire Hunter D, but Ghost in the Shell is also 90s. Couldn't do Ghost in the Shell. I think Ghost in the Shell was 95. Guyver's a class. Wait, you talking about the Mark Hamill Guyver movie? Beautiful Dreamer, dude. My dude knows what's up. So the director that did this went on to do Ghost in the Shell. As a matter of fact,
oh
he went on
wow,
to do that, and he went on to do the Pat Labor movies. Yeah, that's a beautiful movie. Noshka, Valley of the Wind. I love that movie, man. So yeah, there's a lot of things that I'm thinking about doing, and then I fear what's gonna happen if I put animated things out there and I make one of the choices Transformers the movie. My viewers, and being the age that we are, would probably vote for that. Like, I could kind of tell what movie's gonna win. I was kind of hoping the underdogs would win. Like I didn't, yeah, like Baron Munchausen. I was hoping that Buckaroo Banzai would win. I was surprised that Terminator won over Buckaroo Banzai.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Do you want Amanda crying? Because that movie will destroy her. Castle Tiger.
I have seen Transformers the movies, and we did review it on this channel after we saw it in theaters.
She cried. She loved it so much.
I don't remember that, but okay.
She cried her eyes out. Look, man, look at all these. I was thinking of like there's a couple of good ones too. Like, we just lost Leiji Matsumoto, but he did my Arcadia of My Youth, which is the Captain Harlock movie. I love that movie. Limit the blockbuster choice. It's hard because I have to be fair, right? Like, I have to go with the choices that I do love. So if I limit the blockbuster choices, then that gives us obscure choices, and then, well, I don't know. That could be fun. Cobra is great.
Find it to watch it. That's all that matters.
I got you.
That's all that matters. Because obscure doesn't mean that Amanda can find it.
Omar can't cry. Amanda does it for him. Yes. Way to take that. Robotech, man. Have I seen Into the Night? I have. The original Dune. So yeah, we've done fantasy and we've done science fiction. Maybe we'll do horror. I'm trying to sneak Aliens in there because I just love that movie so much.
I'll be okay watching Aliens. I'm just like, I don't really want to watch like any slasher flicks that were from the 80s, like, or God.
Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is a masterpiece.
So I don't know. We'll see about that. But I'm up for anime or animated. That sounds fantastic.
All right, I'll think about it. We'll do some horror and slasher only.
There we go. I'm done for.
No, you'll be fine.
Bring me some more Jamie Lee Curtis. I haven't gotten up for apparently the last couple weeks.
Oh my goodness, that lady.
Yeah.
Man, it's been a while since you last updated. Do you have any news on how Breathe with Wow, I didn't mean to laugh.
She's doing good. She's back at home with my family. Recovering from some tough times, but she's doing okay. So, yes, she's doing good.
There you go. Look at that Cannibal Holocaust. Do you want her to get freaked out and yell at me?
I would like to watch nothing with cannibals. I tried to watch that. What?
This is the one I was telling you about. This is the one that predates the Blair Witch Project, and it was supposed to be real found footage. But the rough part about Cannibal Holocaust is that they actually killed animals in it, so it makes it really hard for people to watch. Like, like they didn't kill anybody in real life, but they killed animals in the movie.
And that is rough. Yeah.
Freaks is a classic. Review, bring it on. This is not her birthday month. We will when it gets to be a birthday. Oh my God, do I have to watch that?
I don't know, but if I would just love to see our entire audience happy just watch some of my movies.
I'm just curious who's going to show up. I can't wait to see Larry's Library in here going, dude, Bring It On 2 was the best show, man.
I don't want to break it to you.
Gabriel Union, you know what I'm saying?
So we actually, Corey made my oldest watch Major Pain this weekend because for some reason he came home from his Yellow Ribbon event and was like, I think Linda needs to watch Major Pain. And then I realized very quickly that most of the things my husband quotes is from Major Pain. Like, is
that why Corey joined the National Guard?
That is not why he joined the National Guard, but
okay, like Critters and Gremlins are pretty mild.
I could do those. I did Troll too, so.
Dude, I love My Dinner with Andre. I don't know if I could get Amanda to sit down for 3 hours.
You could always choose like your best drama. Well, I guess it's not really like in mode with this.
Man, I want to have some fun. I don't want to review freaking Terms of Endearment. I mean, I will. You know, I love a good cry. Or The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
You have like a John Hughes, like.
Oh, dude, you know I got a John Hughes. Dude, oh my gosh. Some Kind of Wonderful is best John Hughes film. I don't care what anybody says. I'm sure most people would say that it's what's called Home Alone or Pretty in Pink or 16 Candles. For me, it's always been Some Kind of Wonderful. I love that movie. Although Breakfast Club still owns. Hey, dude, that was what I was watching Skinamax when I was younger. Heathers was great. I love that movie. That was a late 90s Christian Slater.
That's still not. Is that 80s or is that early 90s?
I think it was 89.
89. So it's on the cusp.
Winona Ryder, Christian Slater.
I still think of it as a 90s film, but I think that's only because it's so close to
those two movies are not horror at all. I know, but they're horror for Amanda. That's what we got to get her to watch, okay? Like,
Thriller. I guess thriller would be a better term. I don't even know.
Gremlins is a Christmas movie. Oh, dude, 80s kung fu movies. Are you serious? I would be all over that. This could be fun, man.
Larry, I've seen Reagan and Bass's The Hobbit. I love that animated.
To me, that's as creepy as the
so creepy.
What's it called? Watership Down animation.
But I love it. Oh man. Anything Lord of the Rings. Okay.
I haven't seen John Wick 4.
I want to see it this weekend. That's the plan. So
yeah. I'll see if I can sneak out. I cried at the ending of The Return of the King when all the oh.
Yeah, you and me both, Jack. You and me both.
I cried in that one too. Universal Soldier. Old Boy is so good. Hereditary.
I do want to see Hereditary. Are we talking about the more recent one? No, I have not seen it.
People really like it. I mean, it's one of these A24 films, so it's artsy. I thought it was okay. I thought it should have ended way earlier than it did. Ravenous. I love that movie. That's got what's his name? The guy that almost played Batman. Guy Pearce. Guy Pearce is in that movie.
Is it about with the cannibal movie?
It's about a colony that has to eat their own, and then it turns in the cannibals. It's great. It's a good movie.
That's wonderful.
Last Unicorn. That's all my wife. That's she loves that movie, dude. Evil Dead. Evil Dead are good. Wendigo is excellent. RoboCop lost out to freaking Terminator.
Yes, it did.
I put RoboCop and they voted for Terminator, man. I think I made Amanda watch Hellraiser. I can't remember if she was there or not. So one of my favorite things to do is to watch a bunch of horror movies with my family. And Amanda so happens to be there a lot. And so she happens to watch some of these with her eyes closed. And then she starts yelling and she gets mad.
Record. Oh, God. Yeah.
Which one? Record? Oh, Record. I love those movies. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We may do the Dungeons and Dragons movies.
Yeah,
we're hyping it up.
I really want to see that film. The reviews that are coming in right now make me want to see that film very badly. I'm looking forward to it.
Train Spotting.
Well, now we're getting to
it's Ewan McGregor, right?
Oh yeah, I could always go for Ewan McGregor. Man, I can't wait to do my movie month.
Equilibrium's excellent. That's a really good one. Hammer Classics. So I will think of Lady Hawk, right? It was so hard. Good
Another thing I would love to watch. Yeah, but y'all didn't vote for it.
Mana's hair is beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
the compliments just pouring in here.
I know.
Well, okay. Let's do some movie news and call it a night then.
Yes. All right.
But Appleseed was 90s. I don't think, or was it 80s? I can't remember when the animation, and it was an OVA. It's like 45 minutes long. I don't think she would dig that. Got to work her in, man. If she's only seen like 5 anime that she count in her hand, can't just throw Appleseed. You got to work it in smart.
Work it smart. Right. Yeah. So movie news. All right. The thing that there's 2 big things, at least in the world of comic book movies, that we need to talk about. Mm-hmm. The first one is obviously Shazam 2. You guys know that Omar reviewed that. That gets snakes. That came out. That's the only thing. That was the best commercial best paid advertising that one could get in a film, I guess.
Oh, okay. That's why you put it there.
Yes.
Oh,
So
that was in there. What was that doing in there?
Because I forgot to make my joke that we're gonna talk about Conan and then put that one up. I just confused everyone. It didn't work out because
Oh, killing the snake. Now it makes more sense. It's
yes.
killing the Sankey.
I
Like, what does that mean?
Anyway, so yes,
I could have used all these. All right, go ahead.
I know. Well, okay. So Shazam 2 came out. It performed a lot lower than the expectations are, 30 million. The box office, of course, everyone's trying to come up with reasons why the film underperformed so severely at the box office. There's, David F. Sandberg, the director, is pretty much like, I thought it was a good movie, but I'm done with superhero movies. I'm just looking forward to not working on a superhero movie anymore. I'm tired. Rachel Zegler, who played Anthea in the film, was like, I don't get it. Our film was great. And then, of course, Zachary Levi blames the Snyder Bros and said they were going to make a statement and didn't show up.
That doesn't even make any sense. Like, why? Okay, let's say the Snyder Bros are a real thing, and please don't make these people come after me if they are a real thing. Wouldn't they want to go and watch this movie to prove that this is the Snyder era of DC? Let's show them how much we love it. Like, why would they boycott it? That makes no sense.
It doesn't make sense. And that's why I was like, so like, what I keep thinking about, why it did underperform at the box office. Yes. I mean, Omar, why do you think? Why do you think it might be the
why do I personally think it underperformed? A couple of reasons, right? The first one is bad marketing. The second one is this movie got delayed, and it's coming into a time when we just had an announcement that they are rebooting the universe. So what the hell is the point of watching something that won't matter in the next year, right?
Exactly.
I mean, that was a big mistake on their part.
It was
a big mistake to announce that we're, wiping the slate clean. We're going to start over anew, and nothing before this movie matters. So that was huge. That was stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, instead of marketing this movie, I feel like there were a couple of other reasons too, but I don't know if they would have helped. Having The Rock in this movie, I think it would have helped.
But it could have done something. And the more that comes out about, how his supposed trying to manhandle DC and kind of stronghold them to rewrite the universe where it'd be centered on Black Adam and Superman and all that stuff. I mean,
so those are rumors right now, right?
Rumors right now. It sounds more plausible the more you start to see how things kind of played out at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that had a lot to do with the way the film performed. I mean, Zachary Levi said it was marketed all wrong. It wasn't marketed as a family movie. It is a long movie, so I can see it being a family movie. Maybe my 7-year-old was was getting bored. Your child, I think, was taking a nap through parts of it. So I don't know if it would have done better if it was remarketed as a family movie per se. Mm-hmm. I think there's just a lot of factors, right? I mean, besides the announcement, which maybe they should have waited till The Flash came out or was about to come out.
Right.
That's supposed to be the reset. Then announced, guess what? We're redoing everything. But I think they were their hand was a little forced because you have fans and everyone just like, we need answers now. And they had to start giving them something, even if it wasn't a very
you're right. I think a lot of it has to do is fans not having faith. They're like, we don't care. And maybe the announcement was supposed to bring people to the theater. I still think a lot of people are going to go see Flash, mainly because of everything we're getting, right? We're getting Michael Keaton.
We're still getting Batman. We're
getting Ben Affleck as Batman. Yep. I don't think there's very many people, I can't imagine, going to go see Ezra Miller as the Flash. That's the reason why, right?
No. Yes.
Most of the time, most of these people are going to go for nostalgia. And hopefully some more surprises. I don't know.
Yeah.
But with this, and even when we reviewed it, this is not a bad movie. It wasn't great. It wasn't as good as the first one, I didn't think. But it was still fun. I think
it made us laugh.
It definitely should have done better than what it did.
Yeah.
What it deserved, or what it deserved better than what it got is what I'm trying to say.
And I think the problem is, so, and you could also say the same thing about Ant-Man Quantumanium came out before it, and I know they're two different universes, but
Mhm.
they're still they're lesser known characters in these universes, right? It wasn't an Iron Man film that came out; it was an Ant-Man film, but it was being touted as the start of the new phase, introducing the big bad. We already knew Kang, so that had a great, really for an Ant-Man film, it was a great opening weekend. Now it did fall drastically because word of mouth on the quality. And I think a lot of people were going in with Shazam is still not that well known. The original movie did great, but not, I mean, I think it only made 60 million, I think, or 68 million, somewhere in there, 70, somewhere in there, when it opened up its opening weekend in 2019. Right. So it did okay, but it still wasn't, it didn't pull in like a horde of people. And with not a lot of DC to back it up. And then the reviews started coming out and they weren't that positive. I feel like people weren't like, okay, I need to rush opening day to go see this film. I can wait, and now they're already doing an early release. I think it's going to be early release digitally, not onto HBO Max for free if you're a subscriber, but you can purchase it or like rent it for an insanely high rate of like $19.99 on like Apple TV and Amazon starting like April 17th. So they're going to cut its legs out from under it within the next few weeks already. So they're already trying to, like, they're like, maybe people will watch it at home, which is probably what's going to happen. I have no doubt it'll be like number one on the Apple TV charts. So yeah, it's a shame. But we'll have to see if they decide to keep Zachary Levi's Shazam around, like
I am curious to see
credits.
where the comic book movies are going as far as how many people they bring to the theater. So, during the pandemic, it was a weird time. So those ticket sales were just all over the place. 2021, we got a lot more movies out in the theater. People were going to the theater with the exception of a few countries, right? And of course, at that point, then countries were starting to pretty much saying no to some movies, like not showing movies,
which is China.
Yeah. Which is weird, right? Even though they have like some of the biggest box of office openings over there. Now we're into the year 2023, and it seems like things have slowed down. And you hear things like superhero fatigue, which is something I've heard for years now. The same thing I hear about comic books. The sales of comic books are the worst they've ever been.
Yeah.
And as somebody that's been reading comics for 40 years, and I don't know if Larry's still here or not, I've been hearing that shit all my life, just about, no matter what. Like, the older generation's always like, oh, comic books aren't selling as good as they used to. Yeah, but, I mean, there's a little bit of truth behind that, because nothing sold as good as the 90s, and then we had that implosion. What's up, King Sporter? How have you been, man? I ain't seen you for a minute. Comic fatigue might be setting in for non-nerds. That could be it. So I'm curious to see where Guardians of the Galaxy 3 takes us, where Flash takes us. To me, those are the big movies, right? Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is crazy to say Guardians of the Galaxy, because they were just a no-name comic book. You've had two established movies that have done really well.
They were also in two tentpole Avengers movies, the characters themselves. So they're in so for them, it would make sense. But I think there's a lot to that.
Larry knows. Yes, can confirm. They've been spreading that doom since I was a little kid. It's just something that we grow up with. We hear that shit all the time.
But so I have a lot of, probably more than Omar does, a lot of non-comic book friends. Maybe, I don't know.
But
I have quite a few.
Let's go ahead and count.
And
you do.
Thank you. Yeah. And a lot of them they say they don't keep up with the films. It's too hard to keep up with these comic book films. It's too hard to keep up with it. They don't understand what's going on. And so a lot of them have stopped going to them, at least like opening weekends, things like that, because it's hard for them to keep up with it, they say. And so they don't know. I've had people who don't even know if Shazam was part of Marvel, and if Ant-Man's DC, I know it sounds crazy, but trust me, these people do exist and they are out there because I've talked to them. And so I think that that does play a factor into it. They're ready for they're wanting new forms of entertainment for themselves, which is why like Yellowstone and everything like that is so popular. Like the new wave of what's cool or westerns.
We need to have a Jonah Hex resurgence.
Yes. Okay, Matt. Okay. I get it that Tom Cruise saw The Flash and he loved it. And I don't know how much of that was like a planned PR move by WB, who like allowed him to have an early screening of the film or not.
Yo, it's Tom Cruise, okay? No. He don't just cold call anybody.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Oh, goodness.
Sounds like you just need new friends.
No, I like to have a diverse set of friends to expand my.
I've got diverse friends too that are. Oh, I remember my buddy Jessica was so cute. She was like, when Hellboy 2 came out, she was like, "Yeah, you know, I think I'm just done with these X-Men movies." I was like, X-Men?
No, I'm telling
you. Hell?
Yeah.
Working on sleep, man. All right, brother. Look, he's sending you a rose, man. What's up?
Thank you.
He's Tom Cruise. He has pull. Yeah.
Yes, we know.
Wait, hold on a second here. I work in a huge warehouse, and no one I know that reads comics, but most watch the movies to one degree or another. And I'm sure it's hard for them to, keep up with things. Omar, why don't they release an omnibus from Detective Comics pre-issue 1000? Detective Comics, an omnibus pre-1000? Yeah, they have. There's quite a few. I don't know why I'm looking at my shelf, but there are quite a few. Yes. Are you talking about the 30s? They were going to. They should do another Judge. Yeah. Well, that's been in the talks forever. Yeah, exactly. She was adorable.
He did, yes. But yeah, so that was the big thing, at least on the DC front. But Marvel had. Yeah, right.
Thanks for that, DC All-Star.
Thank you. But Marvel had quite an interesting revelation as far as their personnel is concerned, and that is the outing of Victoria Alonso, who was a producer for Marvel, like pre-Iron Man. Like she came in with the Iron Man movie, right? Before Kevin Feige and became a thing. And then eventually she was promoted into like being president for like VFX and things like that. Well, she's been, I'm assuming.
So I assume that's who they blame for the VFX.
So yeah, she's taking the fall for the VFX, I think. And that has been a big complaint for Marvel films as of late. And not just the because of poor quality, but how they're overworking their VFX artists. And apparently there's been some insiders coming out about how there was a very toxic work environment in the VFX. And if you didn't she played favorites among who she'd give work to. And so that's going to be very interesting going forward, who they decide to replace her with and what that means for the VFX and the Marvel movies and what that means for Marvel movies in general, right? Because we already know they've pulled back a lot of movies. So, like Marvel's itself has been pushed, right? We're not getting it when we were supposed to get it. They even said they're not. Go ahead.
Look, what you told me that Loki and
season 2's been pushed. Yeah, they even pushed season. Apparently, Loki's not coming out when we think it's going to come out this year. So either that could be they're reworking VFX, they're making changes. It could be that thing, as well as given the lackluster performance of, let's say, Ant-Man, and now looking at Shazam. It might be time for them to say, let's make this stuff an event again and not just we're releasing like this stuff every month and people can't keep up, right? Before it was an event. Like it's been 3 months we haven't seen, or it's almost been like half a year we haven't seen a Marvel movie. Let's go see it. And then now it's like,
because you get that withdrawal. It's like,
and now it's oversaturated. Yeah. So, and I'm starting to feel that because I was like, when's the last time I saw a Marvel thing? Was that Guardians? Besides Ant-Man, but on Disney Plus, it was the Guardians holiday special. Mm-hmm. We haven't gotten anything new since then. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Okay. Anything else before we wrap up for tonight, Panda?
Those are the two major stories that I wanted to cover today because I think they were most important to what we talk about here on the show.
I'm getting a cold call from Tom Cruise about the Church of Scientology bashing that we're doing. What the hell, man?
So if we don't hear from Omar, like the by what is her name? Sherry Miscavige? What's that? Then we need to call some people and ask her out.
We start seeing a new channel calling the Church of
Shelly we need to start talking about it, guys.
Some photos of Daredevil leaked, huh? Yeah, and I saw that another Star Wars, the Rogue Squadron got canceled. I think we talked a little bit about that earlier.
Yes, but also the Daniels have been picked up to do Skeleton Crew, reportedly. The directors of Everything Everywhere All at Once. Yeah, there's a lot of
riding that train
coming out, right? Yeah.
I think we'll probably do Mando season 3 when it's all out. I watched all 3 episodes. I haven't seen the 4th one yet.
Neither have I.
But don't know.
Apparently the actor who plays Jar Jar Binks in the original prequels is in this episode, but like as a Mandalorian Jedi.
Oh, well, good for him.
Yeah, I'm glad they gave him because he really had a rough time because of the prequels and the hate that people had for Jar Jar Binks.
I just returned. Thank you, Josh. I just returned from the
nice.
Now I can go watch real stream. Thank you so much. Thanks for another stream show, Amanda.
You're welcome.
Talking about Cruise, are they doing a Top Gun 3? Or do you think so? I mean, sure, why not, right?
Why not? I mean, it did so well. As long as they can keep the same magic of what made Top Gun Maverick so good, right? That, I mean,
80s nostalgia and
not hype, but perfect degree of it, but with a strong, just central story and cast. I mean, they just, and
sound was very important in that movie.
Sound
in that movie was amazing.
Practical flying airplanes. They could pay the U.S. Navy some more money to go fly some planes. I'm sure the government will not mind that at all.
So that is it for us, everybody. Thank you all so much. Amanda and I are going to be covering the Lexington Comic-Con. We're very excited about that. So I may have to change the schedule for the Saturday live stream depending on when I can get there. But so keep an eye out on the channel, social media, and all that. Wait, what do you mean YouTube changes monetization?
Oh, no.
Please don't say that. Please don't say that. Come on, Kingsport. What would they do now?
Yeah,
I know they're doing away with like some of the ads and they're implementing some other stuff. So I don't even want to think about that. Mission Impossible 7's coming out. But on that note, Amanda, take us out.
All right. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And remember to follow us on all of our social media channels at nearmintcon. Remember to check us out on Spreadshop for some great Near Mint Edition merchandise. And also on Patreon for $1 a month or more. You can support us here on this channel with everything that we do. And last but not least, if it's classy and cool, it must be Near Mint. Good journey. And we will see you next week for whatever Omar decides to put me through.
Keep an eye out on our YouTube community page.
And here's hoping it's not horror.
Okay, I can cuss again, kind of. Whoa! Hell yes! That's not even cussing.
That's true.